Hello and welcome to Kate's Corner, the Radiance podcast, where we are going to be talking about everything radiance, from the treatments, the products, the gossip, the results, what's new in the industry. I am very, very excited, and I'm really hoping that one other person...
Yes.
I'm really hoping that one other person also is. This is an extension, of course, of Kate's Corner that I've been doing on Instagram for quite a while now, and I've had loads of fun with it. So I'm hoping this also is going to be lots of fun. So we're going to be talking today about something that I'm really passionate about. No, it's not shoes, although let's just take a minute for the shoes. It's not shoes. It's actually pelvic floors and the Emsella chair. When the Emsella chair arrived at Radiance, I don't think there was somebody that was so excited as me. Some of that, I don't think my pelvic floor has ever been fantastic, but also I did have two large babies. Thank you, George and Florence, for ruining my life. And now I am ruining yours by talking about my vagina on a podcast. You are welcome, guys. So I'm really excited to be talking about the pelvic floor, everything Emsella. And of course, we've got the Emsella at Radiance, and we'll be talking about it all today. I am joined today by Gemma Halliday. Thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure. I'm super excited to be here. And yeah, thank you.
So Gemma works for BTL, and BTL, we'll get more into that, are the company that obviously designed and we purchased the Emsella chair off. I'm also here today with the wonderful Lisa Arnold. Lisa is a nurse and health visitor, and she also is, well, I like to think she's my friend.
Actually, yes, you are my friend.
Yay! Lisa's got a son called George. I've got a son called George, and they're almost the same age and they go to school together. So today I'm also ruining her George's life by talking about my vagina. Sorry to all the Georges in the world. So I'm going to start off actually with Lisa, and I'm going to ask you, please, to explain to us, what is a pelvic floor?
So, Kate, your pelvic floor muscles are a group of muscles that support from your coccyx to your pelvis.
Yeah.
And they help to support your main organs, your bowel and your bladder, and in women, your uterus and your vagina. The strength of your pelvic floor helps you to control your bladder and bowel functions. And that is mainly a bit of a synopsis on what the pelvic floors are.
Good. Okay. So we understand that side of it. And also something that, I mean, I don't know if I did know this. I sounded really stupid, but men also have pelvic floors.
They do. They forget about that. Yeah. Men do have pelvic floors. And again, that controls their ability to pass or hold urine, and also pass or hold their bottom if they want to go for the other end.
Mm-hmm. So urine incontinence, of course, is something that's bloody awful for males or females, but we do more think of females. I guess that's the adverts with the big sanitary towel pads that people wear and stuff like that. We don't so much think about men having this problem.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But men, also, you need to know what your pelvic floor is. So how can we look after our pelvic floor?
So there's lots of things you can do. Obviously, your pelvic floor changes throughout your life. As we age, the muscles may become weaker. When we have children, childbirth, it also affects the strength of your pelvic floors. And one of the things that people often don't realise is people think that vaginal birth has a bigger impact than a cesarean, but actually both types of birth can change your pelvic floor function. And there's other things that come into context with pelvic floors regards your core strength. So things that we can do, things like Pilates and other core strength exercises. If your core strength is better, you're likely to have a stronger pelvic floor muscle. And things like it's really important to proactively look after your pelvic floor muscles rather than reactive when you then have an issue, whether that be, you're on the trampoline post childbirth with your child and you have a nice little giggle. I think now and again you might have made me giggle a bit too much over the years, Kate. And it's either the excitement or the pelvic floors, but one might have had a little dribble. We'll say it's due to the excitement, shall we, Kate? So there's lots of things you can do to look after your pelvic floors. And then obviously there's exercises you can do, which we can talk about a bit later.
Okay. The first time I was ever aware, the fact that I have a naturally quite weak pelvic floor, probably was about 22 or something like that. And Teenage Dirtbag, I don't know what year that came out, but anyway, they were playing Teenage Dirtbag and I was jumping up and down and I'm just a teen. And
you were really a dirtbag then.
I still am a dirtbag. Anyway, I pissed myself on the dance floor, dancing to Teenage Dirtbag. And that was the first thing in good old Clumpton, dancing. And I was like, oh no. Fortunately, black boot cut trousers were all the thing. So I was wearing black. So it did disguise. But yeah, it wasn't very nice, sort of feeling that sensation, jumping up and down and having a bit of a leak.
Well, there's nothing more embarrassing, is there? Women, classic is, you cough or you sneeze.
Yeah.
And then, you might have a bit of a leak. And I think women are a bit more open about it because people often think the pelvic floor is just a sexual function.
Yeah.
It's not. It's about your ability to control your bladder and bowel movements.
Yeah.
And so I think people are a bit more aware of that now and are actually a bit more open to talking about it, which is good.
And that, again, is why I'm so passionate about this podcast and what we're doing today. We are able to talk about it. I have had a client recently who said that she went to a dinner party and she started talking about the Emsella chair and about her pelvic floor. And the women there were like, thank you for bringing this up, because more so now we talk about sex and we talk about relationships. We talk a lot about mental health, but actually, are we talking about walking around Waitrose and pee in your pants? No, we're not. So these friends at the dinner party said to this client, thank you for bringing that up. So I also hope with this podcast, it will get some conversations going. And if it's not something you're concerned about at the moment with your pelvic floor, it is something that will be of concern at some point. So hopefully this will help you or help someone you know and sort of open up these conversations that we're going to have today.
And that's really important, I think, because even if you feel that your pelvic floor is strong and you don't have issues at the moment, that's not to say as you mature or things change in your life, sometimes gaining weight can put extra pressure on the pelvis and affect the muscles, that actually doing it preventatively now can prevent issues in the long run.
And I am really passionate that they should be talking about it in schools. So it should be on the national curriculum. So we talk about our 5 a day, we talk about healthy eating. In fact, we're doing PE and stuff. But I certainly didn't ever remember getting a teacher to get me to do some pelvic floor exercises and stuff like that. So hopefully this is something that they could, again, be talking about from a much earlier age and introducing. So it's something that we all know that we have to, like brushing your teeth, you'd need to do your pelvic floor exercises. That being said, I effing hate doing them.
Why do you hate? Are you not sat there doing them now, Kate?
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at the face.
You shouldn't be pulling faces when you're doing them.
I have to say, I didn't really ever know what I was doing. After my first child, I was so self-conscious about everything down below. Never wanted to have sex again, never wanted to look at my vagina again, felt like everything was completely different. And I did have a couple of physio sessions and they taught me some things to do, but I hated the sensation of it. Then when I think I'd used the Emsella chair once or twice, going back about 3 years ago, and I was crossing the road, red man, waiting, and I thought, oh, and I did my pelvic floor, and I was like, and there's my pelvic floor. Yeah. So actually, I didn't even know where my pelvic floor really was, if I was doing it correctly, until I'd used the Emsella, which helped me engage that.
Yeah. That's one of the things you've said to me when we were going through the consultation, wasn't it? That actually, everybody gets a different outcome from the Emsella chair, but what it helps with some people is that actually it teaches them to understand and then know how to engage that muscle because it's worked those muscles. And then you can go on and continue to do your pelvic floor exercises, but you actually know what it feels like.
Yeah, it's probably the strongest muscle at the moment in my body.
Interesting.
I love that.
So, Gemma.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you again for being here today. please could you tell us what is this Emsella chair that we're talking about?
Amazing. Yeah. So the Emsella chair is manufactured by the company I work for. So it's manufactured by BTL Industries. And this chair is a device that we use to treat urine incontinence and improve our overall intimate health. It is an amazing chair. And it's completely non-invasive for the patient. And what's so great is that you just sit on the chair fully clothed. It, like I said, no clothes are coming off for it. You are just, sat like we are now on top of the chair. And within 28 minutes, you will be doing the equivalent of thousands of Kegel exercises. And it's doing it all for you. And like I said, you don't have to worry about doing it correctly because the energy that's within the chair is basically forming around the pelvic floor to cause what we call supramaximal contraction. And this contraction is using up to 100% of our muscle potential compared to maybe when we try and do our own Kegel exercises or any kind of muscular contraction, we might be only using up to 30% of our muscle potential. So we're fully optimizing the pelvic floor here. So it's an incredible device. It's been out since 2018. We are just getting incredible feedback. And like you mentioned, even if it's not yourself that needs the treatment, your best friend or someone in your close family or friends will probably in need of this treatment at some point in their life.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. I also have had, and I'm sure other clinics have, people who come in as a preventative.
Definitely.
So we've had a lot of younger people and actually some younger men who've come in as a preventative, and fantastic to be able to see that. Sadly, myself, it came up too late for that, but it was able to help solve everything. And like you said, being fully clothed, I think, is unbelievable that you're able to do this, because you already think to start off, you're going to have to get your clothes off.
Yeah.
And 99% of my clients that have come through, they probably would, of course, but don't want to really take their clothes off and be examined and have everything looked at and stuff like that, especially when you're already feeling a bit crap about everything down below.
Yeah, of course. And I think generally with pelvic floor treatments or any treatment in that area, yes, you think it's going to be an invasive treatment or some more traditional methods. It might have been more of an invasive route. So to be able to have this technology here, like I said, that you don't need to worry about that. Of course, when you come into Radiance or any clinics, like I said, you're having a full consultation to make sure, obviously, you are suitable for the treatment, etc. But like I said, that will be obviously all confidential, obviously with your practitioner. And then, like I said, they will give you the go ahead for the treatment.
Amazing. Going back to the confidential bit, I'd like to point out to any clients that are watching this and concerned, we are, as a clinic, Radiance, incredibly confidential. It's something we take such pride in. I will never today or on any podcast obviously mention anybody or anything like that. I don't like talking about myself too much anyway. So it's all about me, baby. So going back to the consultation, what we do is obviously clients will come in for that first initial consultation, and that will be with myself. So I talk to them obviously about where they are with things and talk to them about what they can expect. Everybody, 100% customer satisfaction they've all got results, which is brilliant. But obviously those results can change from client to client. So they come in and you would have 6 sessions, and we do 2 sessions a week for 3 weeks. After that, we'd recommend some other things, so I'll go back to that. But the consultation is really important to see where you're starting. What are the reasons why somebody couldn't use the chair, Gemma? Why?
The main reasons, of course, the obvious. If you were currently pregnant or trying to conceive, we would not have that patient on the chair.
Yeah.
And there's some other things, some things like metal implants in the body. So if you've got, a hip implant or maybe a copper coil and things like that, that would be a contraindication to the treatment. And also things like electrical devices in the body, such as pacemakers and things like that.
Okay.
There's a full list of the contras that obviously your practitioner, as mentioned, will go through to make sure you're fully safe, obviously, to proceed with the treatment.
Yeah, and I always check each time someone comes in.
Exactly.
Anything
That's
changed?
really important as well. Or is every week
I
has anything
actually
changed?
did have my copper coil removed so I could go onto the chair. That's how much I really wanted it. Fortunately, I didn't have a boyfriend at the time, so there was no risk of pregnancy anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did get that removed, so I was able to use the chair, which is great. So you come in for the consultation and we go through everything. And normally within that, you get to know a little bit about me and I get to know a little bit about you and start to build that client relationship, which I really love. And I've stayed friends with loads of people that have come in as clients, which has been brilliant. And then, as I said, you come in and do those 6 sessions. So they come and sit on the chair. What does the chair actually feel like? So, Lisa,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
what do you think the chair feels like?
I was driving here this morning trying to think of the best description of what the chair feels like. And the funniest thing came into my head,
Oh, God.
which I've actually never done, but just visualised, you know, as a child, if you got taken to the laundrette, never that I got taken to the laundrette. That you'd sit on top of the tumble dryers in the laundrette. Now,
I've got such different images.
now, I have never, as a child, been taken to a laundrette and sat on the top of a tumble dryer.
I'm going to take you for your birthday.
Yeah. But that is what I was thinking about, in the fact that, yeah, it's kind of. And then, I don't know how to describe it. I suppose it's trying to think, if you were stood and your washing machine was on a massive spin cycle and it was in the final spin and you had your hand on top of the unit and you felt that vibration, that's kind of similar where I'm going.
Yeah,
and you sit on the chair.
I'd just like to say, though, please, don't sit on your washing machine or tumble dryer thinking that it's going to tighten your pelvic floor.
No, it's not. Oh, is that where I've been going wrong for all these years? No, totally it doesn't. I think it just feels like that. But also, it's not a consistent, because it changes. The vibrations and the muscles that it's working on change. It's like, it also feels a bit pulsy. But it's quite a nice way to just spend half an hour.
It's a really nice way to spend.
Yeah. And I think the key thing is that it's not painful at
all. No, it's not painful.
And there's no pain at all. And it's like an intense contraction, but not painful. And actually, you kind of get a bit competitive with yourself. You're like,
because you have to sort of readjust yourself on the chair to make sure it's hitting the right spot. I tell you one thing it does make me want to do, and this is incredibly embarrassing for all the Georges out there. But
cover your ears, George.
But I think this just proves that actually, when you're doing your pelvic floor exercises, for example, you have to imagine you're in you're in Buckingham Palace with the king and you're about to let out the biggest fart. And you're like, oh my God, I've got to not do it. And you do feel you're trying to stop a fart coming out when you're sat on that chair. Has anyone else experienced that?
Well, the first time I ever sat on it, and you turn it from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
And if you can try and keep it, obviously, as high as you can without it feeling uncomfortable, although it doesn't feel uncomfortable, it takes you a minute to get used to it. Everybody, when they first sit on it, think, oh my God, what's this going to feel like? It is the unknown. And it's a strange sensation.
Yeah.
So the first time I went on it, I was competitive with myself and I managed to get to 100. Then when I got off it, it was a bit like I'd got off a horse. I was sort of walking like John Wayne. And I was like, you don't need to walk like this, Kate. Stand up. Actually, it's all good. You can carry about your business. There's no
downtime.
No downtime.
Nothing that you need to do after the.
Some people, I have to say, very much like the feeling of it. I'm not saying that they're naturally they are getting off on it ever so slightly, maybe. Some people do really like the sense. I don't particularly like it so much, but it's not painful at all. And it changes throughout. And the best way I always say to clients, it's a little bit like a horse walking, trotting, cantering, galloping. And the noise of it change and the sensation of it changes. As a horse rider myself, I sort of resonate with that. And that's a little bit what it's like.
The sound is a bit like if you've ever had an MRI scan.
Right,
well, I haven't actually.
An MRI scanner. So, with an MRI scanner, like I said, we're using this in this chair. It's called high FEM, so it's high intensity focused electromagnetic energy that we're using. And similar to what's in an MRI scanner, we're using an electromagnetic field, whereas that's static field as such. This is sort of a rapidly ever changing field. So yeah, sort of similar sounds definitely that have been created by the magnets that are within the chair.
I managed to spend a nice 28 minutes raiding Cosmopolitan, and I haven't read that since I was a teenager, when maybe we should know more about our pelvic floors.
Yeah.
I love Cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
So you sit there, and I always say to people, bring your book, relax, and we always have up-to-date magazines in there to read, because you shouldn't be sat on technology when you're sat on it. But there's something really nice about that, because you actually have to switch off. And nowadays, with screen time being crazy high, and we're always worrying about where we're meant to be, what we're meant to be doing, all this sort of stuff, actually to be able to sit there and not be scrolling through Instagram and things like that, I think it's fantastic. And a lot of clients come in and I say, help yourself to a magazine or whatever. I actually just like staring into the distance for 28 minutes and relaxing. And a client said the other day when she finished her course, Kate, would you mind if I still come in? You don't need to put the chair on, but I just want to sit there for 28 minutes and have that to myself, which is lovely. So it shows you it's a nice, relaxing experience and something you are doing completely for yourself.
Yeah,
which is brilliant.
And I think going back, like we're saying, to just to go back to the sensations and things like that. So within the chair,
tumble dry. You mean?
Yes, yeah. There's 2 protocols that are within the device, and depending on your symptoms or your needs for using the Emsella chair, you've got your protocol 1, which is used for more sort of diagnosed pelvic floor issues. So if you're using it for your stress, your urge, your mixed urine incontinence, maybe postpartum rehab, post-op rehab, we'd probably be more inclined to use protocol 1. Just because there's a few more relaxation phases there. So we want to, gradually build up that strength in that pelvic floor. Or we have protocol 2, which is more for, maybe specific concerns, maybe just for general pelvic floor training, like I said, more for a preventative reason, or maybe just for overall core health in the body. But this one also we can use, which, like I said, it's more like the horse galloping sensation.
Yeah.
And this is great for the blood flow enhancement. So for people who want to use it more for sort of attainment of orgasm, and like I said, we'll go down more with the male topic, but like I said, things for like ED, for the erectile dysfunction side and things like that protocol is amazing for those specific concerns as well.
Okay, well, while we're here, let's be here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Okay, so orgasms. It is going to help you have stronger, better orgasms. I mean, who doesn't want that? So you're not wetting yourself when you're doing your shopping. You can dance to Teenage Dirtbag Baby as much as you like. And also you're having better orgasms. I mean, that's amazing,
Well, that's
isn't
seller,
it?
Isn't it?
Exactly.
So yeah, lots of people do come back and report about their sex life to me and say how they then do have better orgasms. But I think also what it's really doing is it's giving you that confidence. With that, again, going back to having my children and what you felt like afterwards, I would have probably been happy never having sex again, because I was really worried about everything down below. And I guess also when you grow up at in school, they talk about, which sounds awful, like, oh, she's got a big vagina. Or they didn't say that about me, by the way, but I said she got a big mouth, mouth, big tits, but never big vagina. So yeah, not anymore. And you do worry what that sensation is going to be like the first time you have sex after childbirth, and you worry, oh God, things change. And I think the Emsella chair gives you that confidence as well to be able to have sex, and everybody should be able to have good sex, and to feel good about themselves if they want to be having sex, obviously. But
I think people forget how important the pelvic floor muscles are in the role they play in the sort of attainment of orgasm and things like that as well. So I think it was Adisa will be able to say a bit more about that side as well.
Because do you know about orgasms? She's been married a while.
How awfully rude. No, but it's true. If your muscles are stronger and you've worked on those muscles, then you have more control. And also, it's not just about the control. If you feel in control of your body, then you're going to relax more, and it all goes into that cycle of actually if you feel more confident, in the fact that you're not going to have an accident, and then you're more confident sexually, then actually, yes, it can improve your orgasms.
And a lot of clients actually who I've seen haven't had, and of course the men haven't had children, who haven't had children.
Well, they might have had children, but they might not birth them.
Yeah, birth them.
Yeah, right. Emsella will not give you a vagina if you don't have one already, sadly. And
you're missing a trick.
Yeah, can we come up with a machine that does that? Yeah. And so I'm going onto the men. Let's have a little talk about men, shall we? So what can Emsella do for male clients?
So for male customers or clients, the Emsella, like you mentioned, men have the same pelvic floor as women have. Men might notice the more sort of the incontinence symptoms and a bit later on in life, more due to aging factors. However, they might experience them from prostate removal and things like that. Or, but like I said, we can use the Emsella just the same as we would be using it for females, if it's more indicated for the urinary incontinence side or more towards the intimate health side with the erectile dysfunction. And we're getting very, very positive results from the ED side as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's massive, isn't it? Because to start off, when I started using Emsella, it obviously was helping with the incontinence, and also, which is a huge thing for men, nobody wants to be leaking. Nobody wants to be panicking. Nobody wants to be running to try and find a toilet and
sort of planning where their next stop's going to have to be and things like that.
It breaks my heart sometimes when I listen to people. I don't leave the house. I don't pick my grandchildren up. I don't do this because I'm so nervous about weeing myself. So obviously men are feeling that too. But something I think that every man should use Emsella, because it stopped me needing to go for a wee during the night.
Exactly.
And that changed my life, because I was always up and down going for a wee. And actually my bathroom's quite far from my bedroom, and it's really annoying. But also when I have had boyfriends who go to the toilet during the night, I could kill them because they wake you up. They don't go really quiet like little mice. They make all this kerfuffle, and it's really annoying. So every man should use the Emsella chair so you don't go for a wee during the night and disturb your partner or disturb your own sleep. But also the ED, the erectile dysfunction side of it, is massive.
Yeah, it's just on the increase now, like I said, for the sort of the demand for the treatment and things like that. But I think, like I said, it's because of the awareness that's getting out there. And I think, especially with the Emsella, sometimes it might be their partner that has come in to have the treatment initially, but then they've said to the boyfriends or husbands afterwards, like, there's this chair, there's this option out there. And I think also I think it's one of those things, like we said, okay, yes, we have the terminology for the incontinence side, the ED side, but it is just general pelvic floor training. And like I said, everyone should be doing that. I would say one of the first reasons you go into care homes is for incontinence and for falls. So like I said, we're saying for those preventative reasons. Like I said, we all should be using something like this at some stage in our life. And like I said, for these preventative reasons as well.
Yeah. And again, it is for everybody. And I've had lots of clients who come through who probably wouldn't have been clients who would have naturally come to Radiance Aesthetic Clinic beforehand. But what's been brilliant about that is that when they've started to feel good, because they're doing the pelvic floor, they then have explored skincare. And BTL do some other amazing machines, which we might not be able to get onto today, but we definitely will get onto at some point. Lift your face, your bottom. Fabulous. So it's introduced clients to those type of things as well. But they weren't necessarily clients sometimes who would spend money and time on themselves.
No.
But this is something that I think is essential, like going to the dentist or whatever, for men and women. Going back to, it's like I'm obsessed, isn't it? Let's go back to the erectile dysfunction. I mean, that must be bloody awful, mustn't it, for men?
Yeah, and I think they struggle. I mean, everybody struggles with talking about pelvic floors. But I think men particularly, because even as a woman, if you've got weak pelvic floors, you can still have sex. Whereas with a man, if you have erectile dysfunction, you can't have sex. Well, certainly it's very difficult.
I think some of them give it a good go.
Yeah,
but
they do, but it's just not working. It's just biology, isn't it? It's just not. We work. Women and men are built differently, and although we still have the core muscles, it affects our ability to engage in sex completely differently. So, I think, again, that's amazing that it can help
Yeah. Definitely. And without having to take something and stuff like that as well, and boost confidence. Yeah. So I'm hoping that this podcast will get to any men that feel rubbish about ED and know that there is something out there that is going to help.
Yeah. And even like I said, if this might be a part of their treatment course that they need, they might need other treatments, alongside the Emsella chair, but it is an option out there. Like I said, that is worth sort of investigating. Definitely.
Yeah. So menopause is something that we're all talking about. Perimenopause, menopause. I don't think there's ever been so much stuff about it out there, which is fantastic. And came at the right time as I'm entering into this world. How does the menopause affect the pelvic floor? Is there anything with that?
Well, I just think it's the natural aging process. As you naturally age, muscles do become weaker.
Yeah.
So I think, like I said earlier, it's important that no matter what stage of life you're in, you start to do the preventative exercises to try and build that muscle strength so that actually you're less likely to have significant issues as you age, or you're less likely to have progressive issues, because we're all likely to face those issues at some point in our life. We are all likely to have weakened pelvic floors at some point in our life, depending on our circumstances. So the menopause, again, it's a natural aging process. Muscles are naturally weaker as we age. So yes, it can have an impact.
Okay. Interesting. So you come in, you do your 6 sessions of Emsella, like we said. We said what it feels like, the consultation process, and the fact it's quite a pleasant experience. Then what happens?
So once you've completed your course of treatment, which a standard course, like you mentioned, is normally 6 sessions, and you schedule it twice a week. So over a 3-week period, you should have completed your course of treatment. For people who maybe have more sort of severe symptoms, they can sort of go up to 12 sessions generally, but on average, it's 6 sessions. And the patient should, experience sort of tangible results as they're undergoing their course. I don't know what you guys experience when using the chair. But like I said, people can note difference as they're undergoing the course. However, because of the effect that we're having on the pelvic floor muscles, we're rebuilding those muscles so we can re-educate the muscles in that area to re-support the lower pelvic organs. And it takes a bit of time for the body to obviously process that. So your optimum result will be at the 3-month mark after the course of treatment. But like I said, all the feedback that, we generally get as a company, and probably that you've experienced yourself as a clinic, is that, they're having notable differences as they undergo the course of treatment as well.
Yeah, normally after the first one, when they come the second visit, they say to me, oh my goodness, I made it all the way home to Plymouth, Bristol, because we do get clients who come to us from all over. And I made it home without having to stop at the petrol station to go for a wee. And they're really excited about those results, and to see that in their face, oh my goodness, do it, I love that. So they do their 6 treatments, and then 3 months later they come back and I do a follow-up, so to find out what the results are, what you're feeling. If they want to extend those results, so they're saying, I've got some great results, I'm using less pads, or yes, I can make it longer without going to the toilet, what is then when they could use the Emsella chair again?
So I'd always wait until the 3 months. Let's see the actual results and where they're at. And there's no set rule for sort of maintenance, let's say. So that's sort of, case by case with the patient. But like we said, prevention is always better. So like I said, if there's something that we can sort of stagger, a couple of sessions throughout the year just to, maintain the results that we've achieved, that's the word, achieved with the course, then that's what some people do. They kind of have then sort of like a pelvic floor gym, let's say, throughout the year as well. And like I said, just to stay on top of it. And then of course, like I said, if you are starting to experience a bit more leakage, because like I said, we are still got our a natural aging in the area, and obviously maybe some of the underlying sort of causes that have created the incontinence, like I said, then it's like you said, you can do another course again in a year's time if needed. But generally, like I said, if you just stay on top of it, then that's sort of the best route.
Yeah. So clients work in a different way. Some clients then come in when they're coming for their monthly facials, or if they're coming in every 4 months for their Botox or something like that, they then tag the Emsella onto it.
Perfect.
So they come in and have their Botox, then they sit on the Emsella, or have their facial, sit on the Emsella. So they're sort of staying.
So various stages of tightening then.
Yes, tightening and everything. So they do different things.
I think it's important, like, to sort of message, like, obviously these symptoms after menopause, after childbirth, as we age, they are, of course, like normal symptoms to develop. But I think what's so exciting now, we don't need to just manage them or sort of mask these symptoms anymore. We have something that can actually treat the cause. And I just think that's like so super exciting to be able to have that sort of modality now.
Yeah, because I mean, wearing one of those big pads obviously is a saviour, because it's going to stop your clothes from smelling and being wet and stuff like that. But we all know that even when you've got to wear like a sanitary pad or after you give birth, and it's not a nice feeling, is it? Wearing a sort of nappy style thing at all. Nobody wants to have that.
It doesn't empower you, does it?
No, I don't think it would make me feel brilliant. And my pants are so small. I don't think there's room for anything else.
Too much information.
Sorry,
there, Kate.
sorry.
But if we can use, but we can use the device like the Emsella to even like half that usage. That's just, it's such an improvement in quality of life.
Yeah, and also the cost.
And the cost
of those, what you're saying. So actually going on to cost quickly, I'm denied whether you should talk about costs and stuff like that, but surely by now people are thinking, well, how much is this going to actually cost me? Because we've, talked about how fabulous it is. And I think, listeners, you will be surprised, if we still have some listeners, I think you'll be surprised to know that it's actually £600. So it works at £100 per session is what we charge at Radiance Aesthetic Clinic. Clinics are all very different, and I know some are more than that. We started off being more than that, but Dr. Roz decided, thank you, Dr. Roz, that she would lower the price to make it more accessible for so many more women. And that's something that I'm really proud at Radiance that we've done, to be able to help lots and lots of women, not, as I said, just in Exeter, with people who've travelled from all over. And £600 is not a lot of money when you think about what you're getting for that. But afterwards, you spent £600. You want to obviously look after your investment. So you've got your pelvic floor much tighter. You're able to engage your pelvic floor. How do you then, Lisa, look after that? Because we do recommend that you stay on top of your exercises. It's the same as when you have a facial. We recommend you use the correct skincare. You don't have a facial and then never wash your face again. So you're not using the Emsella chair to strengthen your pelvic floor and then never doing anything again. Can you give us any tips on doing pelvic floor exercises?
So your pelvic floor exercises should just be part of everyday life, whether you're stood washing the dishes, on the phone, sat in your car. It's something, they're not invasive. Nobody needs to know that you're doing them.
Yeah.
But are you doing them right now, Kate?
Oh, go on then. I'll do it again.
You want to do the face with it.
And they're really simple, and it's about building them up. I expect, people that have sat on the Emsella chair and, they're able, like you said, to engage their pelvic floor muscles better now and understand what it actually feels like. Because some women and men, but we'll focus on women, some women don't even know what it feels like when they're doing a pelvic floor exercise. So you just want to be squeezing your pelvis, like I said, like you're in the middle of a really important meeting or a really important event, and suddenly you think, oh my God, I'm going to fart in public. And you just want to almost clench and squeeze and hold. And ideally, you want to be building up to holding for 10 seconds and then releasing. But that can take time. So you can't, people who have got a weaker pelvic floor muscle or muscles won't necessarily be able to hold for 10 seconds straight away. But what you want to be doing is over time, building up to 10 seconds and doing, say 3 sets of 10. But again, it's all individual. It's like any exercise, you build up over a period of time. And some people might find it easier. If you've got a stronger pelvic floor, you can engage for longer. And some people might find that actually 3 seconds is all they can last. But if you do this over a period of time, you should be able to build up. And what you want to be doing is when you're feeling and engaging that pelvic floor, you don't want to be pulling in your stomach because that's the wrong muscles. You don't want to be put, as if you were breathing in. You want to be engaging from below, as I said, like clenching your buttocks like you're going to fart, basically, in public, which could be rather embarrassing, almost as embarrassing as peeing yourself on a trampoline, or if Kate cracks a joke and suddenly that's, oh dear, game over.
Yeah, I don't know which one. Farting in public or weeing in public? I definitely would go with farting.
Yeah, no, it's not particularly nice, is it? So, so that's what you need to do. And as I said, you can be doing them at any time. If you just sat in the traffic in the car, you can do them. And obviously, like any exercise, like Pilates, for example, has many different exercises that can engage the core. And as I mentioned earlier, if you've got better core strength, then that will contribute to having better pelvic floors. But obviously, you do different types of exercises. So, you might want to sit in the traffic, you might want to engage your pelvic floor whilst you're sat in the traffic, or you might want to do it whilst you're standing, or you might want to do it whilst you're having sex.
Yeah, I sometimes do that, actually. But that's the only time I like it. Surprise, surprise.
But that can improve your sex life by engaging your pelvic floor when you're having sex.
Okay.
But also there's times when you don't want to be doing your pelvic floor exercises.
And what are they?
So one of the common stories that I've heard, I've seen a lot of prenatal and postnatal mums over my time who have suffered with urinary incontinence, or some people have had other issues with bowel incontinence, and I often talk them through the exercise, and I always mention to them how important it is to carry on and do those pelvic floors once you've given birth. And so many women sit on the toilet and hold their urine, and
that's what I always do.
That's where you've been going wrong, Kate.
Like, so I always thought when you're peeing, you can stop the wee, start the wee, stop wee.
Well, you can stop and start the wee, and that is another talent. But what you don't want to be doing is having contraindications on your other organs. So by stopping your wee, that could lead to more bladder issues and overactive bladder, and then that's more likely to lead to urinary incontinence. Your brain is sending a signal to your bladder to say, actually, now's time to release and go for a wee. And then you're telling your bladder, actually, no, I'm not going to do that because I want to work on my pelvic floors. So that's creating other issues by doing that. So you don't want to be doing it whilst you're going for a wee. You need to be releasing that urine and going for a wee like you would.
Because I'm sure there's lots of people who do that and think
completely.
That.
It's so common.
You heard it here. Stop doing that, please.
It's so common. The amount of mums I've spoken to over the years where they've said, oh, I always did that. Nobody's told me. And that's the thing. It's all about education, isn't it? You think, oh, by doing that, I'm working my pelvic floors. Actually, you might be helping your pelvic floors to some regard. Actually, you're potentially causing other problems long term. And actually, we're trying to work on our pelvic floors to prevent things like urinary incontinence, fecal incontinence, and improve our sex life if necessary.
Yeah. If necessary, yes, it is necessary.
Well, for some it's necessary, others it may not be.
I do love it when people come back after us in the 3 months and they say, and you're expecting lots of things like using less pads and I'm going out and about and, I'm able to go to exercise classes and stuff like that. But I love it when they come back and say, and my sex life.
And
I love that.
And I suppose that's because actually, like I just said, people don't know how to engage their pelvic floor. They think by, squeezing in their tummy, that's working their pelvic floor muscles. It's not working your pelvic floor muscles. And that's where the confusion comes. So actually these people that come back and say, actually, my sex life is much better. Well, it's probably much better as well because actually you now know what your pelvic floor feels, where it is, engage it. Whereas, as you said, people don't want to talk about that, do they? They find it too personal to talk about things like that. But actually, it's so important to your mental well-being that actually you feel in control.
And I do find even after one session on the chair, you have that neuromuscular control. You can be like, oh, that's what a Kegel actually is meant to feel like. I'm not just squeezing my glutes or and things like that. I'm actually doing a full Kegel exercise, and like you said, for that sort of maintenance and things like that, when you're just sitting in the car at the traffic lights trying to do them, I think then, like I said, you really know you're doing it correctly after the treatment.
How many sets have you done while sitting here this morning?
Oh, hundreds.
Hundreds.
I'm the tightest vagina in the southwest. So some people tell me also that they've done at-home devices. So they've bought stuff on the internet, etc., that you insert, don't insert, and stuff like that, do exercise. But no one has reported that any of them work and do anything. I actually haven't done any research with these, mainly because I don't need to, because the Emsella chair is there. But yeah, I have heard lots of people have bought things online and things like that, but I just don't think they are doing, obviously, what the Emsella chair can do.
Well, no, they can't be, because they're not engaging those muscles, are they? But I think the thing is, the reason people buy things like that is because they want to find out actually what their pelvic floor is, and actually, like we do you should be doing your breast examination every week or every month. You should know what is natural for you below, and actually so that you notice changes.
I think it's great that people are taking that step to do something to work towards their pelvic floor, but and it's great, like I said, they're researching it and looking into it. But I think with the Emsella chair, I think first and foremost, we're a medical company. So actually we have sort of 4 arenas. So we have medical rehab, aesthetics, robotics, and cardiology. So our overall goal with any of our devices is always to improve health and well-being and longevity for that patient. And actually, like I said, the key thing with anything that you're using is safety. So for us as a medical company, like, our clinical research, our research and development, we have abundant number of people constantly working on this in our headquarters, and we've been going for 30 years. So like I said, we have a lot of backing with our devices. So we know our safety is on point for the patient, and then obviously the efficacy and the results. Like you want to be result driven. You want to make sure if you're having this device, you're going to see the results after the end of the course as well.
And that's obviously something at Radiance Aesthetic Clinic that we love about you guys. So not just with the Emsella, like I said, with M Sculpt, M Tone, M Face, all these M's. Like M's. we love them all. Yeah, we're getting our M's. Honestly, we actually do have an open day coming up where you can come and find out about all of this, and you can sit on the Emsella chair for free, and I will be there talking people through it and stuff like that. So if that's something you're interested in, that's going to be happening at some point. So we will get that date released on our social media, so keep your eye out, and everyone's welcome to come along for that, and you can find out more about all these fantastic new technologies. The world of aesthetics just moves so quickly. From the 11 years that I've been in this field, what we're able to do today we weren't able to do at the beginning, and that's something I absolutely love about this industry, is how fast it moves and what we're able to achieve, and the confidence we're able to give people. And that is really why I do it. And we all should feel empowered and be able to do that. You should
be able to go out, shouldn't you? And you should be able to, not panic about where the nearest loo is, or how you're going to get there, or what you're going to do if you're stuck in traffic. And these things do happen, but you want to try and prevent them happening as much. And also, as I said, if you feel that you're in control, then you feel more empowered, then you feel more confident, and that has that's in the cycle, isn't it?
Huge impact.
I think aesthetics as well, sort of moving into the we're looking at sort of the overall picture, like I said, and how we're all interconnected. So like you mentioned, you have Sculpt Neo, where we can actually use to treat the abdomen for things like diastasis recti, so the abdominal separation, which is quite common during childbirth. Actually, some people naturally do have it, but there's a big percentage of people, if you have the abdominal separation, then you're obviously more vulnerable to have things like urinary incontinence. So if we can do something to treat the abdominal separation, and then we can use the Emsella for the pelvic floor. So we have the sort of the core to floor program as well that we can do together with the 2 devices.
I like that.
Yeah, the core to floor. Yeah.
That's going to be my take home.
My core to floor. So I think it's just great. Like I said, we're just, we're looking at the full body when we're treating it as well.
Yeah, amazing. And as I said, you can come along to Radiant Aesthetics. You can have a consultation and it's complimentary at any point. But if you're feeling like you just want to find out a little bit more and dip your toes and come to this open day and see what we're all about. And we're all very friendly at Radiant. So I always think hopefully it gives a nice feeling. Does it, Lisa?
Lovely feeling, Kate. I love Kate's Corner.
Ah, thank you. And also we have the best biscuits, don't we?
Well, they're not bad.
Well, I live off them sometimes. Although I'm meant to be on my diet, but it's not happening at the moment. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me. Has anybody got anything else they would like to say or end with? Lisa, any little bits of advice?
I just think make your pelvic floor exercises part of your daily routine. You don't have to plan them. You can be doing them anywhere and nobody needs to know you're doing them. But it's really important to maintain those core pelvic floor muscles to ensure that actually you're trying to prevent things that naturally might happen with the aging process or, as I say, after childbirth. So if that's the one thing you can take away from this podcast from a clinical point of view, it's to, continue to engage those pelvic floors.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you, Gemma. Anything you'd like to end with?
I was just going to say, just thank you for keeping the conversation open. I think that's the thing. I think the more we talk about it and have these kind of platforms to speak about it and, like I said, make it an open conversation for females and males, I think that, it's always the right move in the right direction.
Yeah. And men have pelvic floors. Men benefit from using Emsella. So men, please get in touch. I mean, that sounded awful.
I can pass on her number.
You can all have my number. I'm single. And I do my pelvic floor exercises correctly now, which is fantastic. And I've learned a lot from you guys. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for being on my first Kate's Corner, the Radiance podcast.